Alrighty, we're going to compare the 2004 Honda Xr650L, an old bike, to a 2013 KTM 500 XCW, relatively new. And which bike would you choose and why? Well, I'm going to kind of cover for what reasons you might choose one over the other in this episode. First, let's go over a little change I made. So some of you have been following this. I was going to do some modifications to that carburetor. The Dave's mod's been done, and I'll talk about that really quick, and then we'll get into the review. Okay, guys. Hey, I wanted to look at the jetting on this bike. Oh, hey, no carburetor. Here's the carburetor. And I wanted to do the Dave's mod, and that gives you some abilities to, one, rejet the carburetor. Gives you a bit more range in altitude, and then also gives you some adjustability down here by my thumb right here, so that you can actually adjust on the fly. And anyways, I really didn't film this, but we've got 155, what is it, 58, something like that, of the jets, standard Dave mod stuff, that the needle jet moved and the bottom of the slide drilled out. And that should give us some more adjustability for altitude. We'll give that a try here shortly. Got to get this thing back in. All right, guys. Hey, this is going to be a little bit of an interesting segment, I guess. So I just got to ask the question, hey, why would you ride a 2004 Xr650L rather than your nice new KTM 500? Huh. Well, that's a good question. Why would you buy an old bike like this and fix it up kind of the way you want and do all this other stuff to it, and when you've got a brand new bike in there that you never ride? I guess that's a good question. I think the only way to really answer that is to kind of take them both out for a ride and kind of say, what do they do right for what kind of riding? And there's a bit of fun of building up a bike and making it what you want, and that's a bit of a part of it. But let's take this baby for a ride. I wish you guys could see my feet. I can just barely touch on this bike. It's probably taller than my 500. All right, she starts right up. I love that. Just boom, smack. That is just awesome. And yeah, I do have this thing kind of set up the way I like it. And I got the mirrors, everything. Yeah, it's kind of just the way I like it. Yeah, that's cool. My 500 setup, that's different. That's my dirt bike. I say complete dirt bike. So what is this thing? This thing is a dual sport. Well, so is the 500, I guess. But I don't think that 500 is a very good dual sport. I think it's a great dirt bike. And so this thing has been modified quite a bit, and I really haven't given you guys a little bit of a review on how it feels in the street after the modifications. Got the tires broken in, so it seems to handle pretty well now. When they were brand new, it was a bit sketchy because that rear tire is a dirt tire, where the front tire is a dirt tire, but it is DOT legal. DOT is not seeming to mean a whole heck of a lot. But and then we've done some jetting on this bike to make it run a bit better. Let's run it out. It really revs out way better now, which is really cool. Not the highest revving bike. I made a bunch of notes about this. This bike's fun on the street. It's a fun bike. It's not overly powerful, but it's got lots of low down torque, and it's an easy bike to ride as far as power wise. How does it go into corners? Well, you know, it's when you got to manage in corners. It seems to go through corners just fine. It rides like a dirt bike. It's fun like a dirt bike. And on the street, you know, once I'm going along, I don't really notice that I can hardly touch, because I just put one foot down anyways. If I sit all the way forward, I can touch the ground, you know, a little bit better than just my tippy toes. A little bit better. But it's fun, you know, it's easy to maneuver in and out around traffic. Easily brings front wheel up. Shouldn't be doing that around here. Very playful bike. Let's see, speeds, like I go up to 55, okay, 65, and it's still pretty stable, 65 miles an hour. 45 is what I mean, right? Yeah. And it's still fine. You get the full wind blast because there's no wind protection, but it's stable at speed. It's got enough weight that you're not pushed around. The bar setup on this thing and everything, the way I have it set up, I just love it. I mean, it's real, it's has a comfortable seat. I rode this thing for, I think it was like 11, 12 hours or something like that in a, you know, in a day, and that was no problem. Couple hundred miles on the freeway, no issue. You know, one thing I was going to mention is sort of on the street, you don't really notice how low that first gear is. So, you know, first to second just seems normal. So we go first, second. You notice that more on the trail, that the ratio is pretty wide between the two, because you'll be going along and you feel like, oh, I should be going along in first gear, and you just kind of get running out of room, and then you go into second, so you kind of run first gear up a little bit. I don't know if that makes sense, but whatever. But yeah, it's a fun bike to play around with on the street. You can do wheelies real easy. It really pulls the front wheel up real easy, and you can just really ride them out. Really, 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 really easy. Lots and lots and lots of fun. So really a fun, simple bike to ride around. Pretty effortless to ride. It's a fun daily commute bike for me. It's the fact that it just starts up and you can go. Started up this morning and I thought, hey, it's only running on one cylinder. Yeah, it's a single cylinder. I don't know. I've been riding lots of twins. So it's fun, it's easy, it's basic. And that's a big appeal to this bike. I may go over some of the other things that, you know, why would you ride one that's not super complicated, but it's nice having a super basic bike, and you can make it how you want it. So that right there is 650. I think we should take the 500 out and do a little comparison. All right, there's the 650. Boom, boom, boom. All right, so the 500 sit here, and that's the question. Why did you ride the 500? You know, it is street legal. You got the blinkers on it. You got the horns. You got all that stuff. I think I can explain that, but let's get it out of here. I got to get it off this stand, and we'll bring it out for a little ride. All right, so there are some definite differences here. Here's the Xr650L, and then let's mosey on over to the KTM 500. It's actually not the EXE. This is the XCW, and let's see, it's set up for dirt. But I have a key. Let's turn that on. Let's set up the kickstand. Let's see how I sit on here. I can actually touch the ground. Not quite flat-footed, but I can. There we go. Got her started up. I got my GPS thing on here. Now, this bike, man, I only ride it on the dirt. And I only ride it on the dirt because that's what it's set up for. Very soft. Suspension's set up long travel, but it's set up pretty soft. It's, let's go take it for a ride though and see why or how it handles on the old street. It's a first impression. It feels a lot lighter. Alright. As far as stability and all that, I don't know. Certainly got lots of power. The gearbox is much closer ratio gearbox. And you can run through the gears a lot faster. First gear and second gear. There's a lot more power. You're going through a 6-speed transmission pretty quickly. Does not feel as stable. The seat is certainly not as comfortable. There's a really narrow seat on it. But you know, normally on this bike I'm standing up. Am I riding? A little rougher ride. How is it around corners? More like a dirt bike. Kind of similar in that regard. It'd be noteworthy to say I've never ridden this on the street before. Super lightweight. You really got to run through the gears quite a bit because the transmission's such a close ratio transmission. In the dirt you need that. You know, extreme off-road riding, you want every gear for every, you know, situation. And okay, so we run up to about 55. It's a little, so 62, 63. You know, it's working a lot harder for that speed. It vibrates a whole lot more, and it just doesn't feel as stable. You know, I'm kind of surprised people ride the, you don't see them that often on the street. I mean, to connect one trail to another, that's fine, but really just doesn't feel overly, I wouldn't want to take this on the freeway very long. Whereas the XR, I could ride it all day long. This would make my butt sore pretty quick. And just having to shift so much. Still rides wheelies no problem. Got lots of power. I'd say, you want to ask me which one would I rather ride back and forth to work, it'd be the XR for sure. And this can do it, but this is a dirt bike, man. These KTMs, very much so, very set up for the dirt. Use my blinker. So I think we can get into now after riding this, and I tell you what, I almost feel beat up riding this on the street, whereas the XR is just fun. You know, if you rode this on the street for a while, I'm thinking you'd be really beat up. I couldn't imagine driving this down the freeway for a couple of hours. I think I would be spent, where the XR, I could certainly do it. Let's see, let's turn it off. Which one's my off button? That one? Oh, that's my start button. There's my off button. See, I can't even remember. That's so funny. Turn the key off, you would think. I don't think that does the same thing on this bike. Anyways, so there's the KTM 500 versus the Xl650, and I can tell you for sure, if you want to ride a bike on the street, you're riding the Xr650L, whereas the KTM's off-road only, man. That's for sure. Probably the last time I ride that on the street. It's fine, you know, for a little bit. If I had to get from one trail to another, I think that's why you got the license plate idea on these bikes. But for me, really off-road only. I've never really had to ride this on the street. That's the first time. Just really made for off-road competition use. You know, that's why I've got it. You really want to be able to perform at your highest off-road. You want to ride something like this. You just want to go out and have fun, have a blast, maybe do a little adventure, camping, things like that. You want something a little more robust like this. This is going to last forever and a half. This is a 2004. This is 2013. This one will last a lot longer than that one will. And I'm sure there's haters down there, but you know, it's just built for reliability, built for performance. That's a big difference there. The one thing I thought about reviewing this bike and taking a look at it is that you're never really concerned with this bike on all the dramatic and professional reviews that come out. You don't have to worry about, is next year's going to be better than last year's. It's just super refreshing in that way. Nobody's gonna say, oh, you should have got the 2006, man. The 2006 is so much better. It's just not gonna happen. But on the newer bikes, man, oh my God, everybody's just like, well, mine's better because it's a model year newer. Oh my God. Anyways, yeah, the XL650R has a hell of XL650. I keep saying that. XR650L has a lot of appeal, and they're an absolutely fun bike.